Hello everybody, welcome to the Stanion and Northants Astronomy Club August 2020 Sky Guide. I'm going to continue doing the Sky Guides like this until we resume our physical meetings again, or I might just keep doing these as well as our physical meetings. So this time you're going to get me in the corner of the screen because I've been playing with some more software on my computer and I've just figured out how you do these sort of things, so you're going to get to look at my face during the Sky Guide. So I'll move straight on and go on to explain where you can see the planets throughout August. So we'll start off with Mercury. So at the minute it's shining at mag minus 1.3. Mercury is visible in the east-northeast for the first couple of weeks of August, and then it becomes much more difficult as it gets closer to the sun again. And then, but by the end of the month, it should just about be becoming an even object. So Mercury is always a challenging object to see anyway. But the best bet is probably with a pair of binoculars when it's so low down. You might be able to just pick out the small disk of Mercury hidden there in the low murk before sunrise. Okay, so I'll move on now to Venus. Now Venus is putting on quite a show in the morning at the minute at mag minus 4.3. It's really incredibly bright, and at the minute it's a 43% lit disk, so it's just off half its phase, and this increases to about 59% by the end of the month. So all month long you can see it in the morning. It rises about 2 o'clock in the morning, British summer time, and and on the 15th, morning of the 15th of August, it has a close encounter with the moon. So that's why I put that slide on there. So that in the early hours before sunrise, of course, you'll be able to see Venus mixing up with the moon on the 15th. So onto the next page. Mars is also quite a prominent object in the sky in the early hours at the moment. So that's at mag minus 1.1, still quite bright, very noticeable. You can see its red colour shining very noticeably in the morning sky at the minute. So the brightness increases to minus 1.8 by the end of August. So it's quite a nice sight at the minute in our night sky. On the 9th of August, on this slide here, shows you Mars is having a close encounter as well with the moon right next to it. So that'll be a nice thing to see, a moon next to the red planet Mars, which rises around about 11 o'clock British summer time. So it should be, the skies will be nice and dark by the time it rises. By the time it gets to a fairly good altitude, it will be very nice and dark. Moving on to Jupiter, so that's shining at mag minus 2.6, and it's in the company of Saturn all month, as you probably noticed over the last month as well. You see Jupiter just over to the left of Jupiter is Saturn as well, Jupiter being the brighter planet of the two. On the we can't make out the date on that one, sorry, it's a bit small. It too has a close encounter with the moon, where the moon will be sitting just to the right of Jupiter, with Saturn to the left as well. On, I think that's the 26th of August. 26th of August you'll see Jupiter, Saturn and the moon, and then the following evening the moon will be over close towards Saturn as well. A few more things I'm going to highlight this month about Jupiter is some of the transits that you can still possibly see this month. Even though Jupiter's not very high, you should be able to get a telescope on there and possibly see some of the shadow transits that the Galilean moons take across Jupiter's disk. And you can see the shadows being cast onto the planet's surface, gaseous surface. So the one I've highlighted up here is a Ganymede transit, which is on the 7th, and that's set to midnight, so it's actually gone on to the 8th of August there. But about an hour earlier, you would just had the moon showing itself on there. There's the moon there, and then following on, just before midnight, you'll start seeing Ganymede's shadow starting to move onto the planet's disk. And then on the 16th, a similar thing will be happening, but with the moon Io. I found these out just by playing around with Stellarium, the free planetarium software which you can download onto your PC. And you can change the date and time to whatever you want, and that's what I've done. I've put it to a particular time, and then start flicking through the dates until I see a shadow or a moon close to the planet's disk, and then so you'll be able to work out for yourself when exactly these transits are happening. It's one of my favourite things to see when I'm trying to observe Jupiter. So moving on now to Saturn. As I've just described before, Saturn is not very far away from Jupiter in the evening sky, so when the sky gets dark, you'll be able to see Saturn and Jupiter in the southern sky. And on the 29th, it is joined by the moon. So that would mean that in my previous slide, I should have said the 28th of August. That Jupiter will be joined by the moon. So Saturn, the ring planet, of course, always a nice object to see through the eyepiece of any telescope, and it's always quite nice to be able to make out the Cassini division here between the two main rings of Saturn. A really nice object to observe. So moving on now to the two outer planets, the ice giants, Uranus and Neptune. Uranus is at mag 5.7, so just on the cusp of naked eye visibility. Always a tricky one to pick out. I always find that a hard spot, even if I know my telescope has told me it's pointing at Uranus. It's always a bit tricky for me to discern it from the surrounding stars. So best bet is to get a good star chart via Stellarium or some kind of mobile device, and star hop your way there and make sure you're looking at the right object. You should just be able to make out the hue of Uranus as well. And then Neptune as well, not far away. It's in the constellation of Aquarius, on mag 7.8, so you will definitely need viewing equipment, telescope or binoculars to see Neptune, and the same sort of method applies as with Uranus. Is get a good star chart and you can star hop your way there, and make sure you're looking at the right object. So I'll move on now to just a couple of other objects which I think may be of interest to you throughout this month. I'm going to start off with M13, Great Globular Cluster in Hercules. It's mag 5.9. It's quite a bright object, and it's a really nice thing to see in the eyepiece as well. Quite easy to find. Finder scopes normally just show it up as a fuzzy blob. So if you find the keystone of Hercules, I always start off at Lyra with the bright star Vega there, which makes up one corner of the summer triangle, and then I just move my way across. I can make out the keystone asterism in Hercules, and then on the right hand long side, about a third of the way down, is where you find M13. So the Great Globular Cluster there of Hercules, between these two stars here, just come about a third of the way down, and in your finder scope you should see a little fuzzy blob, and then look in your eyepiece and you'll see this beauty. You can see the hundreds of thousands of stars that are all gravitationally bound to each other. You've got different coloured stars in as well. You can see red ones, white ones, you can see blue ones. So it's always a nice object which I like to show people through the eyepiece if you get the chance to. The next star I'm going to show you is a variable red supergiant in Cepheus. So in the northern skies, this is a circumpolar constellation, and you can always make out. I always like to make out the house-shaped asterism of Cepheus. in the northern sky. And then this star is quite easy to locate, so you come off the base of the house if you like, and it forms quite a wide angled triangle there. And then this star here, so just about halfway between the base stars, and you come up just down a short distance and you'll see this star here. It's called the Garnet star due to its colour. It shines quite a nice hue of red, and it can vary from mag 3.4 to mag 5.1, so it's a variable one, so it might be interesting just to visit each time you're out observing, have a little look and see how the brightness compares to the last time you observed it. You can compare it to nearby stars which are a constant magnitude, just to get an idea of how it's changing. So that's it for the objects. Move on now. It's August, of course, which means the Perseid meteor shower is upon us. It does start in July and goes right through to about the 23rd of August. But the most activity usually between the 9th and the 16th of August. And the peak this year, I think, does happen during daylight hours. So your best bet is to get out looking on the night of sort of 11th, 12th, 13th. Which I think the peak should happen, or would be closest to the peak, around about the 12th of August. So I think this bit of information here is wrong, so ignore that. Almost a full moon present but low in the southern sky. The moon's not full, it's not going to be quite full. I think it's around about quarter phase. But the moon, it might present a little bit of a problem, but just try and shield yourself from the bright moon if it's up. And the Perseids normally have quite a few bright meteors available to see. You just got to be out there, it's got to be looking at. Keep yourself wrapped up warm, of course. Take yourself a flask of tea, some friends, and go and socially distanced friends, of course. And go and see how many Perseids you can spot if you're lucky enough to get clear skies around about the peak time. Because the zenithal hourly rate can be 110, and you can get some bright outbursts of this meteor shower, which is generated by the debris trail from the comet 109P Swift-Tuttle. So as the Earth ploughs through the debris field left behind by this comet, these Perseid meteors are produced for our enjoyment, and if you're lucky enough you might be able to capture some on camera. So fingers crossed we get some good weather and we can get out and spot some of these meteors. So moving on now, Noctilucent cloud season is coming to a close now. This usually runs from late May to mid-August. So as always, look towards the northwestern horizon about an hour and a half, 2 hours after sunset, or to the northeastern horizon about an hour and a half, 2 hours before sunrise. And they can't be very well predicted, so it's worth just checking each night if you're keen to get a view of some Noctilucent clouds. And you just got to keep checking. I think there are some webcams available if you do a search online from further to the east in Europe, which would probably start seeing them before we do here in the UK. So it can give you a little heads up to see if there's going to be much activity that night. Now I was lucky enough to capture this image. I captured the recent comet NEOWISE. The first view I had of it, I was taking some pictures of it, and then Noctilucent clouds started happening as well at the same sort of time. This was around about 2 in the morning, this was, and I'm sorry I packed up a bit early because I think the Noctilucent clouds got a bit higher than that still as well. So it's quite an amazing sight to see that bright comet there in the sky alongside these Noctilucent clouds, which produced by ice crystals, which are very high up in the Earth's atmosphere, and the sun's at just the right angle to bounce light from these ice crystals back down to where we are, with the sun being below the horizon, of course. It's quite a marvellous thing to see. It's a shame it ends in August, but it's a nice seasonal treat that we get treated to each year. So moving on now, International Space Station passes. They're visible until the 20th. I'll just put a quick shot here of the table from heavensabove.com. It shows you There's some of the passes, shows you the magnitude down here. There's a bright one on the 13th at 20 to 7. Not sure if it will be dark enough by then to see. There we shall see. Here's the table with all the times. There's some early hours ones as well. This one's at 4:45 in the morning. The highest altitude point as well is listed here. That this first on the 13th is at 89 degrees altitude, so it's just about overhead. That is. It is overhead. So yeah, get yourself on there. I'll get your ISS detector app. This is a really good app as well. Get on your smartphone, gives you little notifications when you can expect to see it. Yeah, and give the astronauts a wave on the way over. So I'm just going to share a bit of news with you as well now at the end. A couple of things from NASA to share. They've launched their Perserverance rover, which is Mars bound. It's just launched very recently, and it's going to be getting to Mars and on the surface in February 2021. It's a rover which has got experiments on it, and they're trying and see if they can get any more evidence for if there was any life on the ancient Martian surface, or what's going on there now. It's a rover, quite similar to the one that's been there for quite some time, the Curiosity rover. This was the Mars 2020 rover, and they've just renamed it Perseverance. So hopefully we'll see some good science coming out of this rover, and make some new discoveries about the red planet. Move on to here as well. NASA Ingenuity. This is a little helicopter test which is going to be stowed away on the Mars 2020 rover. So when it lands, they just want to try and see how well little helicopters can fly around on the Martian surface. It's quite exciting to be able to, to see what happens when they test this little device out. It's just a flight test to see how it copes in the the much thinner atmosphere than we have here on Earth. It's quite a nice bit of innovation going on there from NASA. And next, on the 2nd of August, the Crew Dragon Demo 2 crew, they splashed down from the first manned or crewed test flight of the Dragon capsule. NASA astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley, they splashed down in the Gulf of Mexico, and they were picked up by the recovery ships. I think all was well. The mission was a success, so they're all very excited to be able to start launching again from American soil instead of having to go to Russia and get a lift up there on the Soyuz capsule. So it's more exciting stuff going on there with a manned, crewed space flight. Naughty me. Right. So I'm going to finish off now with some images that myself and some other people from Stanion and Northants Astronomy Club have taken. And so this is my close-up image of comet NEOWISE taken through my 10-inch telescope. So it's the most detailed one that I have. Sadly, I didn't manage to get any detail from the ion tail. I only got the dust tail. It's still really nice to see that through the eyepiece, and then to also capture some pictures of it with my telescope. And here's another picture I took with just the camera lens. I was overlooking my hometown of Corby in Northants. As you can see down here is the lights of the town glowing away there. It's about 1 in the morning, and then we've got comet NEOWISE hanging above the town there. And here's comet NEOWISE again. There's a lot of comet NEOWISE pictures. It was a big comet this last month for everyone to get excited about, and then to see a naked eye comet in the sky was a proper treat for us all. So here's one from Paul Smith. He's viewing comet NEOWISE over his rooftops. There we can see comet NEOWISE there. And also here's a closer-up image of comet NEOWISE from Paul Smith. He just used a DSLR camera like I did. I think that first shot was at 55mm, and then he's used a 250mm focal length on this shot here, which shows you the tail in a bit more detail, a bit more close-up. Just single exposure he was using, as I was. Moving on now, a couple of pictures here from Darren Buchan, another Stanion and Northants Astronomy Club regular. He went to Rutland Water, I believe. He was taking some night shots from there. So this is just a picture of the night sky with some nice terrestrial point of interest of the, I think that's the Northampton Church, I believe, on the reservoir, with a nice view of the night sky and a hint of Milky Way showing through there as well. Very nice work from Darren, and he too was out observing the comet NEOWISE as well. And here's a picture of it hanging over the reservoir in Rutland. So move on now to a couple of interesting Graham Algeo. He got some really good detailed images of the Noctilucent clouds. You can see the ripples forming, and if you watch this, with the naked eye, you can see it moving over a course of half an hour, 20 minutes, where you can see the change as the Earth rotates, and the orientation of the sun hitting the ice crystal changes. You can see the structure changing as well in how the light is being reflected from the ice crystals back down to you, the observer. So really interesting seasonal thing to see is Noctilucent clouds. And also from Graham Algeo, another shot of comet NEOWISE. Nice close-up image here, and you can see that he's stacked a number of images here. You can see by the trailed stars that we have here, he's stacked quite a few just to get a bit more detail out in the dust. You see the dust how it looks thicker in this image here, and you can see it fading off at the end. A really nice image. And then our last image I'm going to show you is from Dave Eagle, our friend Dave Eagle, and he's managed to capture the iron tail really nicely. This is a stacked image he's got here, stacked on the comet, shown by the trailed stars again. Got the dust tail here, and then the different coloured ion tail. As you see, it's mostly made of very low mass particles, causing them to go straight away with the direction of the solar wind, I believe. So some really nice images showing the iron tail here. And Dave Eagle has been doing some virtual astronomy clubs. I think he runs it every Tuesday. Just go to his website, stargazing.co.uk. You can check it out there. It's all free of charge. You can make donations if you want to, help him out with his STEM work. But it's really nice to get involved and chat. You just watch parties if there is an event, or he has people giving lectures on there as well. So it's good to get involved with that. If you wish to do so, just go over to his Stargazing website and follow the links to his virtual astronomy club, which I think it goes via Zoom and YouTube as well. So there we have it. That's this month's Skyguide, and a few bits of news and stuff at the end there. And we're sharing links. That's our link is www.stanionastro.com, or you can find our Facebook page, which is Stanion and Northants Astronomy Club. So I hope you'll find that useful, and I hope you get out there, get some clear skies, see lots of Perseids. Send me some pictures to our Facebook page, or message our Facebook page when we can include any images on there, or just put some posts down about what you've been observing. Nice to hear from people. Okay, so I'll speak to you again next month. Bye.